Good morning. Good morning, one and all. How the devil are you doing this fine day? Hope you're all fit and well. Now, where was I? Yes, where was I? I'm going to say good morning to Alex Latham, who says, good morning all. I missed hearing this show in the morning. Hope you had a great time, Mark. I'll come to that in just a moment. But thank you very much indeed for that, Alex. And yes, did have a fantastic time. Ken Hatcher is here as well. He has some weather. Jim Turner is here as well. I think Gary Muirhead may well be missing today because he's on a new site and he has zero Wi-Fi connectivity. But we shall see. He may well pitch up as we speak of the devil and he shall appear. Morning, Gary. Thank you very much indeed for being here. Yes, I'd love to say it was good to be back, but it's hard to lie while looking you in the eye. Las Vegas was... It was amazing. I tell you what, let me give you a bit of an insight. This is actually a video of the show being put together. Got lots more MINExpo stuff to come up, but this was the show coming together. Yeah. Doesn't really give you an idea of scale. As our friend Ken Hatcher has just said, huge scale that show. You think the T264 Liebherr mining truck was the biggest thing on display at the last Bauma. They had that in one of the halls. It's a new version, battery electric version, autonomous. We'll come to that in the fullness of time, but yeah, just an astonishing show. And Vegas, around 40 degrees every day. The sun shone consistently. Food was amazing, and I got to spend a week with my wife and two of my 4 children. What a show. Absolutely fantastic. Nothing short of spectacular, and I've returned with tails to tell and enough giveaway merch to sink a battleship. Speaking of merch, this is just part of the haul of hats. You kind of get the idea. There was lots of hats on. I think I came back with about 20 hats. We're going to be doing something a little bit different. I was thinking about this while I was traveling back. Once I finally get my bags unpacked, I will be doing something new. And it's going to be new with the giveaways. Up until now, all of our giveaways have been literally just a free-for-all. Going forward, that will still be the case for run-of-the-mill giveaways, including some of the lesser hats that people have already got. But the better stuff, including some exclusive stuff that I picked up in Las Vegas, we'll be making those available only if you're one of our supporters on buymeacoffee.com. That's buymeacoffee.com/demolition news. I think it's only fair that those that help support the show get first dibs on the best and the hottest stuff. So if you're into that, then please make sure that you support that. I know we've already got some of those supporters here. Chris Ford being one of them. Morning, Chris. Good to see you here. Ken Hatcher is saying hat. We're not doing it yet. As I say, that's just part of the whole. I think I can't remember if it was 15 or 20 hats that we picked up, but also got just another point. You see that Ritchie Brothers bag? You kind of get the impression, yeah, that's full of stuff as well. That's going to be, well, some of that is going up for grabs as well. Yeah, we'll be doing that in the fullness of time. Peter McKenna, who is back in his sick bed, I'm afraid, sad to say. Morning, all are feeling absolutely shite again, guys and girls. Get Get well soon. Get well soon. Peter McKenna says, who's a twat? I could draw you up a long list. But yeah, we'll come to that at some point. So yes, all of that, all of those hats, all of that merch will be up for grabs over the next couple of days, weeks, months. I don't know. See how we go. In addition to all that, I bring you news. Obviously, I've been away for a week and a day. So in a week or two, I'll be up at JCB for their latest product launch. In November, I'm traveling back to Sweden to check out a brand new demolition excavator from those fine folks at Volvo. And towards the end of the year, I'm delighted to tell you that I'm delighted and honoured, actually. I will once again be among the judges for the New Zealand Demolition and Asbestos Association annual awards. Unfortunately, I won't be having to go there to do it. I'll be doing it remotely. But it is ironic. It is ironic that I don't even get an invite to the awards here in the UK or Europe, but I'm considered worthy of judging those on the other side of the world. Go figure. Let's have a look. What do we got? Chris Ford says, if the hat fits, wear it. Yes, indeed. Ken Hatcher Steelworks closed in Wales yesterday. Not good. Peter McKenna says, a new segment for your show, Mark, twat of the week or month. Now, I don't know if you remember this, but we did have a thing. Bear with me a sec. Do we still have it? Yeah, there we are. We used to have Hero of the Week, but I'm fairly sure we also had that. Dick of the Week. I know he's a politician. I can't even remember who that is or why he got the award. Obviously, he is out of government now. But yes, we had that as a thing for a while. Maybe it's time to bring it back. If it were down to me, it would be the same couple of people over and over and over again, but that's a whole other story. But yes, Dig of the Week or Hero of the Week. If you would like to nominate any of those, I'm more than happy to share them. Now, without further ado, should we crack on with the show? As I say, do have lots and lots to show you, most of it from Las Vegas. And I can tell you, as it stands at the moment, none of my footage is downloaded. Our flight back from the US yesterday was delayed. So all of my footage, including some fantastic new footage from my new drone, all of that is still exactly where it was. It's on memory cards and stuff. Haven't had a chance to download it. So the show today is basically stuff we've borrowed from others, but we will be bringing you our take on MINExpo very, very soon. So without further ado, I'm going to roll the intro, post the question of the day, which is one of mine, which was kind of inspired by my trip to Vegas, and then we'll get the show on the road. So here's our intro. Do need to say good morning to everybody over on Instagram, but in particular to the fine folks at Steel Wrist Official who are tuning in. I'm guessing from Sweden. I don't know how to say good morning in Swedish, but good morning to you nonetheless. Let's have a look. That truck that fell off the thermal fire duct Warrington yesterday, driver got out alive, fell 60 feet. I just caught that on the news. I'll come back to our question of the day in just a moment because, it is that time. It is Tuesday the 1st of October. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony, the walrus of demolition. In today's show, we're going to be focusing entirely or almost entirely on the hottest news from a spectacular and truly memorable MINExpo from Las Vegas. Also not doing an official morning monologue. I'll be sticking around for a chat after the show, but no official morning monologue because I got back too late. But lots and lots of stuff to discuss, part of it which will be inspired by what we're going to do in just a moment. So before all of that, let me address the small matter of our mystery machine. I did have time to do this, so our mystery machine will be right back after this. Now, to very quickly recap, the first month of our Mystery Machine competition was won by Steve Williamson. I'm not sure if Steve is back from Africa. I think he's in Morocco at the moment. I'm not sure if he's back. Not seen Dan Cullen in the chat so far, and he won month 2 and month 3. He very kindly gave away his prize to Jim Turner last month. So we're starting afresh. We've got no points on the table, no history, no baggage whatsoever. So we've got a brand new competition starting today, which will run for the entirety of the month. So here is our Mystery Machine for today. Can you identify it from that? Can you guess what that is? Any thoughts would be most gratefully welcome. Bear with me for 1 second. I need to take something off there. Yeah, there we are. So I'll be coming back to that in just a moment. Lots of answers coming in on our, the Mystery Machine, also on our question of the day. Ken Hatcher's going back to the guy that fell off the Thirlwall viaduct. That will teach him to concentrate on his driving. Possibly. It makes me wonder if there was extenuating circumstances. Maybe he nodded off. Maybe he was swerving to avoid something. We shall find out in the fullness of time. Had our first Dan Cullen has just joined us. Dan, we will be giving away hats aplenty in the very near future because I've come back with cartloads of them from the States. So there is our Mystery Machine now that Dan is here, and we've had our first guess, which is Jim Turner reckons it could be the JCB 140X. Tis not. Dan Cullen reckons it could be a Komatsu 130. Tis not one of those either. Peter McKenna says a blowout, apparently. Well, not much you can do about that, is there? Obviously, keep an eye on the condition of your tyres, but not much you can do to predict that. And thank you very much indeed, Dan. Yes, you missed all the spiel. I've come back with about 15, 20 hats, plus a whole bag of merch as well. We'll be giving that away mainly to, well, not mainly, that's not strictly true. We'll be giving away quite a bit of it. The better stuff we'll be giving away to anybody that supports us over on buymeacoffee.com/demolition news. Tell you about that some other time. Dan Cullen also says it could be a PC 210 from Komatsu. It's not a PC 210, but we will be talking about all things Komatsu in the not too distant future. Earl Fallon just joined us over on Instagram. Good morning to you as well. And Theo Vanderberg. Love a name like Theo Vanderberg. I'd sound dead important with a name like that. Ken Hatcher reckons our Mystery Machine could be a Komatsu 20-tonner. It is not. So let me show you a smidge more. There you are. And Pile Styles says, G'day from Australia. Good day to you, sir. Thank you very much indeed for being here. I have to say, I spent quite a bit of my time in Las Vegas with Aussies. Lots of Aussies in town. Obviously, Australia being a big mining territory. Yes, there was lots of people over there for that trip, and very good they were too. In fact, I'm going to be showing you one of them in just a moment. Our friend from Australia reckons our Mystery Machine could be a Sumitomo 13-tonner. It's not one of those. Dan Cullen reckons it could be a Komatsu 340. It's not. Chris Ford, he's going for the Lugon 936F. Not one of those either. So I'm going to take that away for the moment because we do need to crack on. I'm going to start the show officially. No, I'm not. I'm going to just very quickly remind you of our question of the day. Then I'll start. Yeah, latest question of the day comes just by way of a change from me. It was inspired by the fact that I've probably eaten my own body weight in great food over the last week or so. And the question is this, quite simply, what is the greatest food combination? Obvious contenders here: fish and chips, eggs and bacon, cheese and pickle, sausages and mash. My wife threw in just before I came on air this morning, beans on toast. Fantastic. But what do you believe to be the finest? As we left Las Vegas, or the Las Vegas Convention Center for the final time, myself and Fred popped next door to a Jewish deli called Bagel Mania. And I'm telling you now, if ever you find yourself in Las Vegas, particularly if you find yourself down the Westgate end of the Strip, go pay a visit to Bagel Mania. I had an American corned beef on rye toast with coleslaw. Was quite possibly the greatest sandwich of my entire life. So I'm throwing corned beef and rye bread into the mix. But what about you? What do you believe to be the greatest food combination of all time? That's what we need to know. And Pile Styles says, haha, I've been doing demolition for 10 years here in Australia. what a fantastic way to be spending your time. Certainly beats swimming with the sharks or running from the snakes and spiders that are the predominant species in Australia, as we well know. Now, let's have a look what we got here. We've got... okay, so we'll go back to this. I'd like to thank Dan again for donating his prize to me. And I'd like to thank Gary Muirhead again for my Scottish Red Cross parcel. The Iron Brew was divine. Oh, there's Iron Brew going around the places there. Peter McKenna reckons the greatest food combo of all time: cheese and Marmite. I'm good with the cheese. I'm not so good with the Marmite. And we've had another guest on our mystery machine, the Kobelco SK140 from Dan Cullen. It is not. Let me show you a bit more and then we'll crack on with the show. There you are. There's a little bit of bucket. Does that help? Possibly not. Possibly not. Alex Latham is going for the Cat 200B. It's not one of those either. Not one of those either. And Chris Ford reckons it could be an XCMG XE490U. Could be. I mean, it's not, but it could be. Keep the guesses coming in because I need to crack on with the show. And I will be starting immediately after this. Now, I do need to dredge this one off my hard drive, but I'm going to give you a very, very quick introduction. The opening day of MINExpo 2024 saw the world launch of a new Liebherr T264 mining truck. Now, those that went to Bauma, those that have watched this show will know that the T264 in its usual form is nothing particularly new. It's been part of the Liebherr range for a few years now. But Liebherr have been working in conjunction with a mining company, Australian mining company, Fortescue, to develop a new version of it that is battery electric and fully autonomous. I'm going to play you the video of the introduction. It went on for much longer than this, but I want to get to the point because Dr. Forrest from Fortescue had lots to say after the show, including the fact, well, I'll let him tell you, but he reckons that net zero by 2050 is a con, and he will explain why. Now, as I say, I need to dredge this off my hard drive, so bear with me 1 second while I do precisely that. I'm still trying to remember how this show works, but here we go. This is the T264 reveal as it happened live.
Okay. Hello, everybody. And in the name of the Liebherr family, warm welcome on the Liebherr booth at MINExpo. And more importantly, welcome to our Liebherr and Fortescue technology reveal. Thank you for joining us today. Just a moment ago, the curtain dropped, unveiling the future of mining. Our brand new autonomous battery electric T64 truck. This isn't just a truck, it's a full ecosystem. Together with Fortescue, we have developed an autonomous haulage solution, integrating next-gen fleet management and machine guidance systems. As you will soon hear from Dr. Andrew Forrest, this new agreement will make both Liebherr's and Fortescue 2030 goals possible. Not only this, but this expanded deal is particularly significant for us at Liebherr, as it will be the largest single deal in the group's 75 years history.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I can assure you are now part of history. This unveiling, when Willie and I put the lightsabers up, the first thing you probably noticed was there was no cabin. I can say there's also no diesel fuel tank either. This truck will help Fortescue go around Australia around 4 times each day, not only fully autonomously, but without a skerrick of pollution. And it represents, of course, for Fortescue, a single mining equipment deal, $2.8 billion US, the single largest in our successful company year's history. To give you an idea of that, in terms of shareholder return, there is no other company in Australia's history like Fortescue. We marry that reputation with the much-loved Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere coming together. I want you to know this. Hemispheres getting married. Willie and I, betrothed, not even at the 7-year mark, Willie. And what is established here, ladies and gentlemen, is not just that history between our two companies, but have it sink in for a moment. Extremely successful Northern Hemisphere company, extremely successful Southern Hemisphere company, coming together for their largest agreement ever, and it is zero emissions. Take this on board, world heavy industry. Take this on board, world mining industry. Zero emissions is here. Look where these fine people are up. That is an electric digger, one of the, if not the largest in the world. Same with that truck, and it's zero emissions. And this is our future, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to say for all of you who might speak to any energy ministers out there, any prime ministers or presidents out there, I'm sure you all know them, let them know that net zero 2050 is an absolute con. You've got rapidly rising emissions at historical level. You've got nature not able to keep up anymore, so nature absorption is plateauing out right when emissions rise. You can't survive this vector. We thought it would be different. We were wrong. It's much more savage because net zero 2050 basically is a con. We're stepping up like we ask the industrial world to step up and say, if Fortescue can do this with Liebherr's great support, by 2030, the rest of heavy industry can do it by 2040.
Yeah. Lots and lots of interesting stuff about that. For one thing, when he was talking about people up there on an electric digger, I was one of them. I was stood up there with a camera. Well, with 2 cameras, actually. If you count my phone, I was actually stood up with 3 cameras. That's a whole other side. A couple of things, though. That both Willie Liebherr and Andrew Forrest mentioned the fact that that was the biggest deal both of those companies have partaked in or participated in. That is going to be worth more than $2 billion. And one of the things that wasn't mentioned in there, but having spoken to Liebherr at some length after that big reveal, that truck, I don't know how much that truck is, but between now and 2030, Fortescue Zero or Fortescue Mining are set to take 360 of those. Yeah. 360. And as Andrew Forrest said, the distance that they will be running will be equivalent to going around Australia a couple of times a day, every single day. Let's have a look. Not sure battery is the way to go on large-scale machines. Thinking solar generating, hydrogen in sunny countries might be a greener option. What I would say is lasting memory of MINExpo. Obviously, Las Vegas. Las Vegas is always a blast. It really is. Doing it with your family, it's fantastic. Sunshine, glorious, and everything else. The machines themselves were magnificent. I mean, some of the biggest machines I've ever had the privilege of standing by. But the biggest deal that came out of that, the biggest thing that came out of that is here on this show and within the demolition and construction industry, we are still talking about electrification, hydrogenization. Should it be battery? Should it be mains? Should it be this? Should it be that? The mining industry, beyond that. It's gone beyond that. That is a done deal now. The biggest machines at that show were that T264, which is battery electric. There was a big Liebherr excavator. Can't remember which one it was, but I was stood on it. And electric powered again. Round on the Hitachi stand, there was electric machines as well. Over on the Komatsu stand, and we'll come back to Komatsu in a moment, but they have got a dump truck now that they describe as power agnostic, which we will come to in just a moment. But one of the things about this idea of power agnostic is here's a socking great dump truck, a proper 300-400 ton class dump truck. It currently has a diesel engine in it, a big Cummins diesel engine in it. But the machine is designed to be power agnostic, nothing to do with religion, but power agnostic. What does that mean? In practice, what that means is this. Here's a diesel machine, but you want to go electric? We'll hoik the diesel out and we'll convert it to electric. You want to go battery electric? We'll take that system out and we'll put in battery modules. You want to go hydrogen? We'll take that out and we'll put hydrogen in it. In other words, it's not committed to any, and also a trolley assist system as well. So there's multiple ways of powering this. So when you think about the lifetime of one of those big mining trucks, obviously they're very well looked after and they're maintained properly. You could be looking at a life expectancy of 10, 12 years possibly even further if it goes into other production or it goes into some sort of remanufacturing. As a result of that, you could have a truck, a Komatsu truck, a power agnostic Komatsu truck that starts out as diesel powered, goes to battery electric, goes to trolley assist, could go to hydrogen as well. Could be 3 or 4 different power options throughout the lifetime of that truck. The mining industry is unquestionably leading the way in this. And one of the things that really struck me about this is when you think about the mining industry's reputation in the past, basically raping and pillaging the landscape of the world, basically, pillaging and raping Mother Earth and leaving great scars across the industry and across the landscape and everything else. I think they've been very, very good at reinstating mines and quarries. The extractive industries have got very, very good at that. But the other thing they're now very, very good at is working in partnership. There's another partnership coming up between Komatsu and Boliden. They are working in partnership with some of these major manufacturers, and they are leading the way. As I say, we are in this industry. We are still. Should it be electric? Should it be battery? Should it be this? Should it be that? What about hydrogen? There. No. We are committed. And as I say, Fortescue, what does Ken Hatcher says? Fortescue is massive now. Don't think that company been going that long. They had a lot of luck with one of their mines. He's the boss, that guy. Yes, he is the boss. There are a couple of bits of Dr. Andrew Forrest talking online. If ever you want to go and have a look at it, he's an Australian. He's very, very, not outspoken, but very forthright in his opinions. But the other thing that struck me about that was that T264 has been developed as a joint venture between Liebherr and Fortescue Mining, but they're calling it Fortescue Zero. And one of the things that really struck me about that is this is not we've developed this and it's all ours and we're not going to share it. This is top secret. They're basically saying, right, okay, we've developed this together. Now, the rest of the industry, here's the technology, follow suit. Because there is a bigger game at play here. We're not talking about being more competitive in mining, although that obviously is part of it. The absolute truth is that truck has been developed in part to help save the planet. And I have to say, fair play to Fortescue Mining, who have obviously committed a lot of time, effort, and resources to making that product and that project happen. But they are now throwing it open to the rest of the world and inviting the rest of the world to follow their lead. I think it's absolutely admirable. And the truck itself, I've been up it, I've been in it. There was a cab. It doesn't do anything, but there was a cab. But I've been up it and I've been in it. And it's an astonishing piece of kit, really is. Mostly Diggers, Garvin, good morning, says Garvin. The power agnostic Komatsu can then be sold and shipped to any other market in the future. Yeah. So imagine that. Imagine you take one of those power agnostic Komatsu trucks and you run it, let's say, on diesel, and then you decide actually we're going to convert it to trolley assist. But then you decide, okay, well, we've been running it in Germany, one of the big German mines, but we're now going to send it over to Africa to see out its life. And if Africans want a hydrogen version, if they want to go back to diesel, you can do that. Power agnostic. It's the way it is. Also, the mining industry has the money to do this. Yes, it does. And the mining does throw up a different argument as well, because obviously you're talking about fixed locations and stuff. So, if you need to put in power generation plants or whatever it might be to keep those things fueled, then obviously you can do that. But the biggest thing from my point of view was the fact that a major company like Fortescue have gone out and they've sought a partnership with a major manufacturer, committed to that manufacturer. I mean, it's 2024 now. They've got a deal that now will last at least 6 years, because that's the current plan, but probably way, way beyond that as well, obviously for the lifetime of those trucks. So it's a long-term commitment. Why are the major construction companies not doing likewise? Why is, off the top of my head, a Balfour Beatty not sitting down with Caterpillar and saying, this is what we want for our future. This is how we're going to go. Ken Hatcher says, I'm loving my hybrid plug-in Toyota. It's definitely the way forward, he says. Jim Turner, that's how machines should be. That's what I mean about a platform with multiple options when ordered and multiple options for change when being reconditioned. Yeah, absolutely right. I came back from ConExpo in 2020. Aside from the fact that I was running away from COVID, I came back from ConExpo 2020 talking about pretty much nothing but software and technology. Same again in 2023. MINExpo, there was lots and lots and lots and lots of technology. Caterpillar had a remote autonomous trucks, but they also had remote operation. Liebherr had the same. I think Hitachi had the same. Komatsu had the same. So all of this technology is available. But the biggest thing to come out of it was this commitment to future fuels, because they're all coming at it from different angles. But like I say, the discussion about should we, shan't we, it's over. It's over. As far, if you were in the mining industry and you went there, you would have been hard pushed to find a long-term solution in a diesel form, because everybody is now looking at alternative fuels. Mick Norton's just joined us, and he says, I dread to think the increased cost for a multi-fuel source excavator. But if you think about it, and I know this kind of goes back to what Garvin was saying over on Instagram. If you run, let's say you get your power agnostic Komatsu truck, which is what it was in this instance, and you run it for, let's say, 5-6 years. After 5 or 6 years, given the fact that these things tend to work almost 24/7, you'll probably be looking at some sort of upgrade anyway, so a remanufacturer. If you're doing that, that would be the opportunity to say, okay, well, we've been running it on diesel now, but we now have the ability to run it on trolley assist or battery electric or hydrogen. So conversion, why not bite the bullet? Why not bite the bullet? Komatsu hydrogen fuel cell, matter of time, I would say. Matter of time. And what was interesting, you'll see this when the footage comes out. The main part of the exhibition was spread over 3 of the Las Vegas Convention Center's halls. There was one hall that I literally walked in and walked back out of because it was all knickknacks and widgets and stuff like that. There was another hall where the likes of Shantway and XCMG were very, very... There was lots of Chinese manufacturers there, but none of them had a big stand, which I thought was telling as well. But the absolute focus were 4 stands, and they were all side by side. Caterpillar, Komatsu, Liebherr, and then round the corner to Hitachi. The 4 big manufacturers, all vying for contention, all offering alternative fuel solutions, all offering remote and autonomous control. That is the way the industry is going. Going back to Jim Turner says, no increased cost if it's designed for different fuel options. Obviously, there's going to be some work involved, but you're absolutely right. It's just a case of uncoupling and lifting the power pack out and replacing with the other option. Yeah. And even easier if you're talking about the trolley assist, is just mount the gantry on top and Bob is your uncle. Anyway, I'm going to be back with more all things MINExpo in just a moment. We're going to go back to our mystery machine, which currently looks like this. What have we got? I think this is more or less where we left it. Dan going for the Kobelco SK120-11. No, it's not one of those. It's not a Sany SY390H. It's not a Komatsu PC500. It's not a PC360 LC11. It's not a Cat 320 GC. It's not one of those. It's not one of those either. It's none of those things. In fact, I can tell you now that if you've guessed Komatsu, Kobelco, Caterpillar, Kobelco, Sany, you haven't even got the right manufacturer yet. So while it's on the screen, let me show you a bit more. I'm going to take that away. So yes, that's where we are. Initial cost would be prohibitively high for most uses, or is that users? Again, the mining industry does work to completely different scales. The very fact that we're talking about a $2 billion investment in trucks alone, those are the sort of deals that we're talking about in mining. But as I say, the argument there is over. That's not even a discussion point anymore. Future fuel is coming. As Dr. Forrest said, 2030 or 2050 is a con. We could do it sooner than that. Might take longer than that in construction because we're still chewing the fat on the issue, but it is coming, unquestionably. We'll be right back after this.
If you are enjoying this episode, please consider supporting the show. You can leave us a tip at buymeacoffee.com/demolition news.
Just see, there's a comment just popped into here. Dan Cullen reckons our mystery machine could be a Lugong 924. It is not one of those. I'll tell you, you're in the right part of the world, Dan, but you're not right with that one. So, yes, if you weren't here at the top of the show, I will tell you all of my footage from MINExpo is currently still on SD cards or on cameras because we got back late, haven't had a chance to download it. So I'm pulling in footage from other people. And one of the people I'm pulling that in from is Komatsu itself. A couple of manufacturers, including Komatsu and Caterpillar as well, were producing their own videos that basically charted the progress of the show. So this is the opening day of MINExpo 2024, according to Komatsu.
MINExpo Day 1 in the books. I'm Robert Hussey. I'm the product manager here for our D475 A-8 bulldozer. Today was awesome. We had so many good conversations with our customers, forming those partnerships and learning about their business and what we can do to help them. It was so good to see the seats packed for our presentation, highlighting our sustainable mine optimization. I think the video does a really good job showing not only who we are, but what we do and where we're trying to go. I'm so excited for day 2. We've got such a great show, such a great booth. Let's get it, guys.
Yeah, you did get a glimpse of the 930E, the fuel agnostic or the power agnostic truck that we're talking about. I will be showing you that in more detail in the future. Going to go back to this point from McNaughton. For the Rio Tintos of this world, cost is not a problem. For the average UK user, it would mean a huge financial outlay. It would. It would. I have a question, however. Can we, let me put it on that, can we talk about financial cost when we are talking about potentially saving the planet? Can you put a price on that? You can't put a price on human life, which is why I constantly bemoan the ridiculous fines levied against people that kill workers in demolition, construction, mining, quarry. There is no price you can place on a human life, but what price can you possibly place on the planet? Can we really afford to talk about the financial cost of switching to electric, hydrogen, battery electric, whatever it might be, when what is at stake is actually the survival of the species? That's my question of the day. Let's have a look. Jim Turner says, fuel tank and engine bay becomes 2 battery packs. It does indeed. And I didn't get a chance to ask this question, but it did occur to me when I was coming back. I wonder what the benefits are of trolley assist. I mean, I know they are a little bit quicker and so on down the line. But if you've taken the engine out, and that trolley assist is providing the power, is that truck not then a lot lighter? If it's a lot lighter, can it carry more? Or if it can't carry more, is it more efficient? That's one of the things I'd like to know. Morning all, says Steve Williamson. Steve, how was Africa? Just a quick hi and bye. Last day sitting in the sun, hot one today. See you all next week. Hope you had an amazing time in Vegas. Just to clarify, being in Morocco just opens your eyes more on how we're all shafted in the UK. See you later. I look forward to hearing from you on that, Steve. And by the time you get back, there may be something waiting for you from this studio. Yeah, you'll see. Dual fuel version has small range of a generator, so more room for battery packs. Smaller fuel tank means more room for batteries. Machines were designed in modular fashion, then all this is very easy to do without any cost to the buyers. There you are. We're going to go back to our mystery machine, which I can tell you we do actually have a winner. Dan Cullen reckons it could be a Shantway SE135. Nope. He went with that again. Chris Ford reckons it could be the Zoomline. Dan Cullen then went with the SE220. It is not, but he then went with that. The Shantway SE210, which is precisely what it is. And I can prove that to you by rolling that through. There you are. It is a Shantway SE210. So Dan Cullen, once again, he's starting this month pretty much how he ended last month. 3 points on the board. First 3 points of the new month of the Mystery Machine. And Dan Cullen, 2-time champion, back-to-back champion, in fact, he's back at the top of the lead. Top of the leaderboard, that should be. That's what I was trying to say. I was going to say I was out of practice for talking. That's not true at all. I did nothing but talk all the time I was in Komatsu, in Las Vegas. Took the hind legs off the proverbial donkey. But congratulations, Dan. That is points in the can for you. And we're going to go back to MINExpo in just a moment, this time in the company of Caterpillar. But first, this. Dan Cullen, going back on the SE210, says they have a similar dipper to Komatsu. There may well be a reason for that, bearing in mind the way the Chinese develop machines. Can't wait to see the videos of your trip. Yeah, now, on that subject, if I'd been able to download it in time, I would have shown it to you today. I'll do it tomorrow. I took a new drone with me, my new Neo drone. One of the plans that I had in mind, let me take that away just while I'm having a chat. One of the plans I had in mind was to use the drone, which also records audio as well, to use it as kind of a dedicated cameraman. You will see it tomorrow, but some of the footage that we've captured using that drone, nobody else will have. Nobody. There's on the Komatsu stand, which you may have got a glimpse of, they had a big P&H rope excavator bucket. And lots of people were being photographed in the bucket. I sat in the bucket and sent the drone away. So you've got me in the bucket and you get to see just astonishing. But there's a couple of walkarounds that I did where I set the camera rolling in front of me and I was just walking and talking. So you get to see me at MINExpo doing the rounds. All that to say is we are going to be producing a film. I don't know how long the film's going to be. I'd like it to be an hour long. I've got enough footage for it to be an hour long. So over the next couple of weeks, I'll be working on that. I'm going to do a live premiere of that film at some point in the near future. So keep an eye out for that. Mick Norton says, in truth, UK construction company shareholders care little for saving the planet or Miliband's net zero targets. It's the return on their investment that gets them out of bed in the morning. All true. All true. But as Fortescue have proved there, we don't... I think one of the things that struck me about, obviously the Fortescue, but with Liebherr, with Komatsu, with Caterpillar, with Hitachi, they are not waiting for legislation, and this. Listen, Fortescue have shareholders, Boliden have shareholders, Rio Tinto have shareholders. At the end of the day, those mining companies, yes, they do have lots and lots of money, but they are only committing to this, or they're committing to this even though they have shareholders. They have found a way. They have found a way. We in construction and demolition need to find a similar way. Now, I've already keyed them up. We're going to be talking about Komatsu. This is the opening day on the Komatsu stand. No, it's not. We've done that. This is the opening day on the Caterpillar stand instead.
Welcome to the first day of MINExpo 2024. Hi, I'm Courtney Rigdon, and we're excited to be here in Las Vegas at the Caterpillar MINExpo experience, where we are showcasing our products, technologies, services, and solutions. But more importantly, we're talking about what we can accomplish when we work together. And speaking of working together, that's really what the Caterpillar MINExpo experience is all about. The theme of our show this year is Together, We're Mining Better. And it's a great platform to showcase how we're helping you address your biggest challenges. And on day one, we're focusing on solutions to support our customers wherever they may be in their energy transition journey. While we're showing some exciting new advancements this year, we've been on our own journey to develop electrified products for more than 20 years. From tethered products to diesel electric machines to battery electric breakthroughs, we continue to innovate new solutions to meet your needs every step of the way. And here's one of those breakthroughs on display for the first time. This is the CAT Dynamic Energy Transfer System. It's a fully Caterpillar-developed system that can transfer energy to both diesel electric and battery electric mining trucks while they're moving around the mine site. CAT DET will also charge battery electric haul trucks while they're operating, increasing speed on grade, improving operational efficiency, and boosting machine uptime. The system is comprised of a series of integrated elements: a power module that converts energy from a mine site's power source, an electrified rail system to transmit the energy, and a machine power system to transfer the energy to the truck's powertrain. The innovative CAT DET system provides the industry with options to support both near-term and long-term sustainability strategies. The DET on display here at MINExpo is connected to the 798 AC, the largest truck we make. It features a proven Caterpillar-designed electric drive system, and it's one of the most fuel-efficient trucks in its size class. In addition to leveraging CAT DET, it's also compatible with biofuels and renewable fuels. We have 2 underground loaders on the floor this year, each with a different drive system. The 2900 XE is our first diesel-electric LHD, and the R1700 XE is equipped with battery electric propulsion, providing a step forward in our efforts to reduce heat and exhaust emissions in underground operations. The R1700 XE features the industry's only onboard battery. It can be charged in less than 20 minutes when paired with 2 of the mobile MEC500 chargers. Here's the MEC500, located in an area of the show floor we're calling the power station, where we also have an energy storage system and a solar array. We're demonstrating our commitment to providing a variety of flexible solutions to help you navigate the energy transition. Through our advancements in both equipment and technology, we are uniquely positioned to deliver holistic, integrated site solutions so that we can meet you and support you wherever you are in your journey. Stay tuned for more in-depth coverage and exclusive insights as we continue to explore the Caterpillar MINExpo experience. To learn more about our solutions for the energy transition and everything else we're sharing here in Las Vegas, visit cat.com/MINExpo.
Yeah, Caterpillar had one of the biggest stands there and one of the most impressive as well. And they were giving away some very nice hats as well. That's a whole other story. They'll be giving those away in the fullness of time. But I'll come back to that. This is a new hat as well, picked up in Las Vegas. I like it because, but what with me being a storyteller and all, it seemed wholly appropriate. Jim Turner says, now, I have comments on this. No normal business cares more about planet over the planet. Let me try that again. No normal business cares more about the planet over profit. So it's down to governments to govern. We all know they don't give a fuck because most of our stuff is imported from the biggest polluting countries on the planet. So the whole thing is a farce. All true. Sad, but true. All of that is true, 100%. However, here's a thought. Here in the UK, construction and demolition projects are let based on what they refer to as a weighting system, WEIGHTING, not weighting as in a long wait, but weighting as in the balance of these things. Key part of weighting at the moment is making sure that by and large, the lowest bid wins. But we also have lots and lots of commitments to reduction of greenhouse gases, reduction in carbon, and all of these things. Why do the industry not start to add more weighting to sustainability? And we've already got a degree of this. We've already seen that with trying to reduce carbon emissions by effectively outlawing some demolition work, embodied carbon protection and all of that kind of thing. But if a major company, and I'm thinking major companies here, so somebody like a Lang O'Rourke or a Balfour Beatty, when they are letting their work to various main contractors, subcontractors, specialist contractors, in addition to looking for the best possible return financially, make it part of the deal that they also get the best possible return in terms of sustainability as well. So when you filter that down to, for example, plant hire, a plant hirer will be given an actual advantage bidding for a long-term hire to one of these projects, be it HS2, Sizewell, whatever it might be, if they are electric, if they are hydrogen, if they are running on a sustainable fuel, even an HVO, which is not as clean as some other alternatives. But if the weighting was geared that way, and there were advantages to be had, and think about that from a demolition point of view. As it stands at the moment, all the demolition companies, yes, a few have converted to HVO, but we're sticking with diesel for as long as we possibly can. But if there was some incentive out there for a machine or for demolition companies to convert their machines to hydrogen, to electric, to battery electric, whatever it might be, that's how you do it. I think governments, I agree with what Jim says, governments need to govern, but I think they're too far removed to be able to do what we need to do. Mick Norton says, I'm convinced that in the future we will have to return to King Coal. Economics will dictate the reversal. Interesting. Yeah, it is very interesting. A couple of things, which kind of reminds me of a point I was going to make. I know there's a couple of places, and I think Germany was one of them, where they've closed a bunch of coal mines and then reopened them. So, take that as you see fit. But one of the other things, when I showed you the Komatsu stand, they had a big kind of theatre in the middle, big circular theatre, and I sat through the presentation one afternoon. And one of the points they were making there was the fact that around the world there have been lots and lots, hundreds of mine closures, not for sustainability reasons, not because they were no longer productive, but because they couldn't find enough people to man the mine and therefore keep the mine production going. Now, bearing in mind that does, our desire and our demand for metals and minerals has not decreased. If anything, it's increased. But we have had mine closures because there are not enough people out there. So what is the solution in that instance? The solution, quite simply, is you either have teleoperation, which is what Komatsu were talking about, rather. So you've got a machine working in one of these closed mines or formerly closed mines, but it's being operated from somewhere else by somebody that possibly in a different country. On the Liebherr stand, as an aside, one of the things that they had there was an operator station where you could get behind the controls of a Liebherr PR776 dozer, and you could drive it. But the 776 dozer was actually in Austria. You were operating from Las Vegas, the machine was in Austria. So that is all possible. And obviously the other alternatives, if you've got locations where you can't find enough people to man the mines, what is the other alternative? Autonomous operation. The mining industry has recognized that and has put that in place. How long before we do the same? Chris Ford says, last coal-fired power station in the country shut yesterday. Yeah, end of an era. Quite right, too. Did the Komatsu stand highlight China's opening of 2 coal-fired power stations per week? It did not. It did not. No. As I say, one of the things that struck me was I was at the last 5, 6, 7, 10 shows that I've been to, and Intermat, Samota, Bauma, ConExpo, all of these shows, you've just seen more and more and more Chinese companies. MINExpo, there was a whole partially dedicated to Chinese manufacturers making sort of widgets and bits and pieces and bits and bobs and stuff like that. But Shantui had one machine on their stand, and for reasons I cannot fully understand, it wasn't even a new machine. It was a dozer, and the blade was all ripped to shit. It really was in pretty poor standard. And XCMG had a relatively small stand, nothing major there at all. Now, whether that's post-Trump trying to keep Chinese products out, or whether they just didn't believe that they needed to be there, I don't know. Be interesting, though. Jim Turner says, sounds perfect. Points system based on materials and plant that are from an environmentally friendly place or system. So no Chinese or Indian steel, no batteries, components from naughty countries that employ children and murder anybody that gets in their way. The civilized world would suddenly grind to a halt. We, the civilized people, have turned out a blind eye for so long. We have no choice but keep being consumers, and it boils my piss, says Jim Turner. Yeah. We have an opportunity. It's been forced upon us, but we do have an opportunity. We let's be honest. Let's go back to Fortescue. Fortescue could have quite easily carried on the way they were going. Burning diesel, producing whatever minerals and metals they're producing in their various mines across Australia. They could have done that. They absolutely could have done that, and I'm sure their shareholders would have been absolutely delighted for them to do so. And anybody that they were selling their minerals and metals to would have been equally delighted. But they chose a different path. That's where we are, I think, as a species now. We have an opportunity to choose a different path. And one of the things, to use Jim's expression there, it boils my piss. One of the things that really gets my proverbial goat, butters my parsnips, is this constant going back to the financial cost. Imagine you've got a relative, wife, husband, son, daughter, niece, nephew, granddaughter, grandson, whatever it might be, and somebody says we could, they're very sick, but if we can do this thing, we can save them. You'd find a way. You would find a way. If that meant getting said child or relative to America, for example, for a very, very expensive treatment, you would find a way. Now, you might be able to find a way yourself. You might have to go out and, seek help from others. You might have to take out loans, but you would do whatever you could possibly do to save that relative. The planet is filled with relatives. And I don't think we have too many climate deniers or global warming deniers in our midst. Let's be absolutely honest. The planet, and it's entirely of our own making, but the planet is in a pretty dire state. What do we do about it? Well, we can sit here and we can chew the fat about, well, it'll be expensive to convert to electric, and we don't really know about hydrogen, and solar power is quite expensive. Or we could say, fuck the expense. We are talking about the survival of the species here. Let's all pull in the same direction. That's the alternative we have. Steve says, looking forward to getting home back tomorrow night, work the next day. Regarding Morocco, packet of cigarettes, £1.90, UK 14 quid. We had a meal out at the hotel. Food was absolutely fantastic. £7 for mains, four for Pepsis. Packet of biscuits that were amazing, 33p. Fuel per litre, 23 pence. Yeah. I can't tell you the same from Las Vegas, because Las Vegas last time I was there was more expensive than the time before. This time, more expensive still. Well, I say that. Food and drink, definitely. Although the hotels pretty much exactly the same as they were the last time I was there, which I don't fully understand. But yes, listen. We're not living in what is known as rip-off Britain. It's not like we don't know these things. We've been talking about trucks. I'm going to be back with more trucks, a bit smaller this time, immediately after this.
Since the finance bill came into effect in April, the construction industry has seen a surge of fuel thefts. The rising cost of living has placed an additional risk of theft by employees and contractors, as well as opportunistic thieves. By using diesel dye and placing warnings of its use, you are sending a clear message that this is your fuel.
And just popping back very quickly to our African correspondent, Steve Williamson, who says, and the roads are smooth, no potholes, LED lights for cat's eyes, mental. Yes. Now, I will very quickly remind you all that this is Morocco that he's talking about, but we live in a first world country, while Steve is holidaying in a third world country that has better roads and better prices and better things. How is that right? How is that right? Now, what have we got here? If they are doing their bit, they need to be fully committed to building machines and building in as fully sustainable way as possible. At the minute, they just aren't. That is another question that I will be addressing at some point when I get to sit down. Exhibitions are phenomenally busy. I mean, you can imagine what it was like. I mean, I think most of the time I was on the Liebherr stand, there were hundreds of people. For that launch, there were thousands of people. But I do wonder about the knock-on with that, the T264. And I'm sure this has all been part of the discussion, but obviously we're talking about commitment to the environment and everything else in the way that those new machines or those new T264s are powered. But what about the components within? Where are they sourced? It's another question as well. Mick Norton says, clean coal technologies can now guarantee its extraction in line with environmental targets for emissions. Interesting point. Yes, I promised you more trucks, didn't I? And I'm going to show you some more trucks very quickly. A lot smaller this time, but pretty sexy. I think you'll agree. Mr. Williamson is dangling carrots. He says, also, just want to share, I'm getting quotes for something amazing. Steve Earthmoving might not just be a social media page. Nothing set in stone yet. Looking forward to you getting back, Steve. I need to know more about that. But as I say, look at your post box over the next couple of days, because there is something headed your way. We'll come back to all that. Now, there is no morning monologue today. I didn't get back in time to write one, basically. But I would like to have a quick chat about Las Vegas. and Formula One. I know squat about Formula One, but I will be back. Even though we're not doing a morning monologue, I'm going to play this just to put the break in. So, one of the big attractions, if you've ever been to Las Vegas, and I know a few of you have, obviously Steve has definitely been there, and I know Ken Hatter has been there, but if you go to Las Vegas, one of the big highlights, one of the big attractions is the dancing water, the fountains at the Bellagio Hotel. It's absolutely spectacular. I mean, I've probably been, I think I've been to Vegas maybe a dozen, maybe 14 times, and always try to find time to go and watch the, it's set to music and there's water going 100 feet in the air and it's all fantastic. Absolute major attraction. Wanted to take my daughter, she's never been, and she was on the trip with us, wanted to take my daughter and show her the Bellagio fountains. But we couldn't watch from our usual vantage point. Why? Because Las Vegas will be basically hosting a Formula One race in November. Goes through the streets of Las Vegas, including part of it on the Strip itself. So as a result, they're in the process of building overhead gantries and grandstands and various other bits and pieces for the Formula One. Now, a bit of a pain in my ass, but not the end of the world. But oh boy, is it a pain in the arse for the residents of Las Vegas. We spent quite a lot of time in Ubers and Lyfts and taxis and stuff like that, and obviously speaking to locals as well, just over the course of our stay in Las Vegas. And yes, I'm sure the Formula One arrival will bring in billions of dollars and, put the eyes of the world onto Las Vegas itself. But for large parts, bearing in mind that a Formula One weekend, I don't really know, but I think it starts with some sort of practice on a Friday. There's a practice, more competitive practice on a Saturday, and then the race itself on a Sunday. So for 3 days, that's how long the actual Formula One lasts. But the disruption is already happening best part of 2 months out in Las Vegas. To make matters worse, going back to the Bellagio, the reason you can't watch from the usual vantage point on the Strip itself is because they've put up these huge hoardings, so all of the work is going on behind the hoardings. Now, I understand the health and safety reasons for that and everything else, and we still got to see them. We just saw them from the other side, but there was no music to accompany it. It wasn't quite as good as it normally is. But speaking to the locals, and in particular one of the taxi drivers or the Lyft drivers that we were speaking to, who is a big car He was a big car fan, very into his cars and his motor racing and everything else. The last time the Formula One was in town, he wanted to go and watch, but he couldn't. You can't just watch from the street without paying. And he said this, there is a regulation in some kind of mandate within Las Vegas that you can't loiter on the various bridges and walkways that go over the top of the Strip from one hotel to another. But that regulation is never, ever enforced. You can't, if you wanted to, and I didn't do it this time, but I've certainly done it in the past. I've been up there, put a camera on a tripod, and then stood there and filmed a time lapse of cars going up and down the Strip. Done that plenty of times in the past. But during the Formula One, that rule is actually enforced. So if you are a local, you can't just walk over there and sort of watch from a bridge. You can't watch from the Strip because effectively the Formula One people have shut up shop. If you want to watch the Formula One in Las Vegas, you need to pay handsomely to do so. Seemed completely wrong to me. And it did make me wonder, but the same taxi driver was saying, according to sort of local legend, and I've got nothing to base this on, but according to local legend, the Las Vegas Strip, or on the Las Vegas Strip, on average, $1 billion changes hands per day through gambling and entertainment. But $1 billion, how much is Formula One generating in order for the various hotels, casinos, and resorts to say, yeah, we'll take a weekend off? Obviously, you're going to have people coming in and staying in the hotels and everything else, but a lot of what normally happens in Las Vegas will not be happening for 3 days because the Formula One will be in town. And I guess ultimately, should a sporting event be allowed to dictate the lives of local people who are there trying to earn a crust in Las Vegas? Just an interesting point. I also wonder. I don't follow motorsport, so I don't know. I'm going to assume, because that's the way it normally works, that Formula One coverage is on Sky TV now. I don't know, but I'm guessing it probably is, because they tend to pay the big bucks. I wonder if they are aware, and I wonder if they would be willing to talk about that. My guess is probably not. The Formula One is sold as a big razzmatazz. The show's in town and everyone's happy about it. No, no, not at all. What have we got here? Question of the day. Has anyone seen Dan Cullen? He was here. What was the question of the day? Question of the day, Dan, was greatest food combinations. And I know we had a few. I said sort of eggs and bacon and fish and chips, but I know we had a few here. What's going on here? God blimey, the chat went back a lot further than I thought it would. Let's have a look. So there was the food. The question of the day. Jim Turner says bread and butter is the greatest food combination in the world because it is the foundation of a perfect sandwich. He has a point. And I don't do it very often, particularly now because the diabetes and the weight and everything else. But there are times, or there were times in the past, cup of tea and a slice of bread and butter. Yes, please. Chris Ford reckons greatest food combo is fish and chips. Hard to argue. Fresh bread and dripping. I've not had dripping since I was a kid. Would I? Probably. Would I tell my wife about it? Probably not. I'm hoping she's not listening right now. I think that's... let's have a look. There's Peter McKenna saying cheese and Marmite. Yeah, it's a combo. I wouldn't say it was a good one, but it's a combo. Mine was beans and sausages and egg before I changed my diet, says Dan Cullen. Not a bad call. Exactly, Mick. So why aren't we doing this? Using our coal here in a way that's cleaner than the coal used to make our imported goods. All true. All very true. Just going back on this point from Dan. I consider myself to be a fairly spontaneous person. I wouldn't say I was necessarily a creature of habit, despite the fact that I do this every day. When I went to college, I went to a college called Carshalton College, only I didn't. I was in an annex. So I was actually in a town called Hackbridge, which is about a mile and a half from Carshalton. So I was in an annex building where we did all the business studies. But once a week, to do our computer part of the course, we had to go up to the main college, as I say, about a mile and a half up the road. So once a week, I would go to the Carshalton College refectory, the canteen. I was there for just over a year. And every single time I went into that refectory, I had 2 sausages, chips and beans. Every single week. I'll tell you, it was every single Wednesday for 18 months, thereabouts. Every single Wednesday, lunch was sausages, chips and beans. And I was pretty good with that. And fun enough, there's a cafe just down the road, does it very similarly. I'm not now on a diet again, and unfortunately, I am back on it. But yeah, that was my choice. So Dan, beans and sausages. Yes, absolutely, totally agree with that. Right now, the proper show will be back tomorrow. I'm sure I'll have a morning monologue written by then. I will also have got some of the footage off of my various cameras. So hopefully I'll be able to show you a bit more of MINExpo. I know some of the manufacturers are still releasing bits and pieces, so I'll be bringing you some of that as well. But we will be talking about all things, everything. I've also got to catch up on some news. One of the drawbacks of being in Las Vegas, and I will use this opportunity to apologize. I know that the WhatsApp continued, but I could not for the life of me take part in any of it. If I was back at the hotel, the Wi-Fi was virtually non-existent. If I was at the show, there was Wi-Fi, but it was as slow as is humanly possible to be. So I've basically been out of the internet loop for about a week. I haven't read Construction News. I haven't read Construction Inquirer. I haven't read Construction Index. I haven't the foggiest bleeding idea what was going on while I was away. So I'm going to be spending the next couple of hours going back over that, pour myself a large cup of tea and go back through see what it was I missed. My guess is probably nothing particularly important because somebody would have mentioned it by now, but I'll have a look at that and we'll come back with that all tomorrow as well. Until then, everybody, please do stay safe. Look after yourself, your family, your friends and your colleagues. I will see you tomorrow because normal service will be resumed and maybe we'll start doing some of these giveaways as well. Congratulations to Dan Cullen on starting the new month precisely as he ended last month with a win on the Mystery Machine. Got a few bits of footage of Chris Ford on my YouTube channel if you want some. Getting quite into this YouTube lark. Good. I'll go and take a look at that, Jim. Jim and I have been speaking offline about my drone. I can't recommend it highly enough. Apart from the fact that I've got lots of footage of people pointing at me because I was talking to a drone, and my approach to the drone while I was in Vegas was I filmed a few bits and pieces outside, me at the show and stuff like that. And I thought, well, I'll take it in the show and I will fly it. And if anybody complains, I will stop. Nobody complained. So I just walked about talking to the drone and got lots of footage and stuff like that. And it's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely love it. And that will be going up to, weather permitting, it will be going up to Eskilstuna with me so that I can show you the new Volvo demolition excavator that they will be showing me pretty much exclusively, I think, in November. So there we are. Chris Ford says, "Did I break the camera? Good job. They were distant shots." I'm sure you're a handsome gentleman, no mistake. Jim Turner says, over 50 subscribers now. Fantastic. He also says I'm way off 100,000 views yet, but no doubt it'll happen eventually. One of the things I will say about YouTube is there is an inevitability about it. It just happens. You get to a certain point. Can I show you this? I probably can. That right now is where our channel is, 123,248. And if I leave that on the screen for long enough, you'll see it tick over. Now, obviously, we do have a major head start. We do have the advantage of having a pretty big audience already. But it just, once you have some followers, you'll get some more followers. And anybody that has a YouTube channel, and I know obviously Jim does, and I know Steve Williamson does as well. If you want to really, really, really boost the number of subscribers and followers you have, do some shorts, do some vertical shorts. Less than a minute, vertical format, and you will get more. You will unquestionably get more. So keep up the good work, Jim. Look forward to seeing your footage of Mr. Ford, rather. I doubt the quality will ever get much better, but the quantity will increase. I think one leads to the other, in truth. Everybody that I ever watch on YouTube will always tell you, your first video will be crap, your second one will be slightly less crap, your third one will be slightly less crap again. By the time you've done 100, 150, 200, I wouldn't say you'll necessarily be Steven Spielberg, but you will have learned, you'll pick up tips and bits and pieces on the way, and you'll learn what not to do. For example, because it was the first time I was doing it using the drone, and there's an audio function on the drone that links to links to my mobile phone, but you have to do it in a certain way. So the first time I did it, I've got lots of me, about 3 minutes of me walking up and down the show. The audio didn't record because I'm too bloody stupid. But then I read the book of words. Second time I did it, the audio was absolutely fine. It's a learning curve. You just and every time you do it, you get slightly better at it. You get, you learn where the pitfalls are, and you start to avoid them. So, looking forward to seeing the channel coming together, Jim. I'll be back tomorrow. Till then, everybody, have a fantastic day. I'm desperate for a cup of tea, so I want to love you and leave you. I'll see you on the morrow. All the best.